Hello, this is the International News of Lisa Luciarden. Thank you so much for taking this message again. This is an emergency message. This is part of my book that I've been writing. Unfortunately, as I told you, my computer was broken 3 times from June to October, and but we're going to get this fixed, and we are writing at the same time and then delivering the podcast and the information. So this is about God's solutions, save USA and Europe. In God's solutions, there's a divine nature of all things in life, the way things are planned. Like, for example, when you're being able to build these tall buildings, these skyscrapers, there's a physics that has exact equation to keep these skyscrapers straight, correct? Correct? They don't break down because there's exact equation in the way these skyscrapers stay straight. This is the same thing with the divine nature of everyday life. There's a divine nature, a divine way, a physics, science, logic, math, equations that exist, that are given at creation to make the best justice of any creation that we're allowed to have. So the point is, today I'm going to talk about an issue that's very serious. It's overlooked because it's hidden. It's hidden. I noticed this footnote. I could barely find it, and it shows about what they did to the teacher's pension and purchasing farmland, and then also purchasing farmland in America and farmland in Brazil, and the contraindications of this, and taking all the small farmlands from Brazil and using their land of the indigenous people and America themselves. And I feel teary-eyed. I could barely keep my tears back because I could feel the people. Thousands of people have lost their livelihood because of the taking away of the farms. Let me show you this clip about the farms. Here it is.
American farms. TIAA, your teacher's pension. Jose Minaya, their CEO. They're buying up Brazil's Cerrado, 3 million acres. A November 2025 report, under the radar, documented it.
And let's stop that for a minute. Brazil is the most beautiful country and fertile country of the ecosystems in the world, and they're destroying that land of the indigenous people. Remember, I told you there's a divine nature of the way the world is set up, and I just saw the second document about Brazil in the ecosystems, and after I wrote that, there's a divine intention of God's intention of the way things are made. This is serious. This is not only taking away the teacher's pension, and is he using it properly, but all the farmers, 160,000 farmers in USA have lost their farms, and there needs to be new laws to save small businesses, the livelihood of the people.
Forested for soy.
Wait, my retirement fund is destroying rainforest? How is that even legal?
Land records prove they bought from known land grabbers. Communities displaced. Over 50% of the Cerrado gone. Species wiped out.
See, is that terrible? Species wiped out. And it's interesting. I have a map of Brazil area that I've been carrying around with me for years. Of the ecosystem. This is a true story I could show you in my suitcase. So God knew what they were doing. That I was supposed to talk about this about these special areas where they have the ecosystems that cannot be replaced, and we can't destroy them. This is relative. You cannot destroy what God's given of God's intention, whether it's first humanity, not to make us transhuman, and take away the livelihood of these small farms. Let's go.
Peter Brabeck-Letmather said, water isn't a human right. They drain aquifers to sell back to you.
Nestle too? I thought they were just bottling water.
Mark Zuckerberg, 2,300 acres in Hawaii. Shell companies. Native Hawaiians locked out. It's a pattern.
So these billionaires are the masterminds? They're...
But the billionaires are the masterminds. But I want to tell you that we know this, that there is going to be contraindications of their work in the Machiavellian teaching. It's a contraindication. You prove the point that what they do comes to the opposite of what they expect, because you know who's up against them now is the Islamic regime and the Democratic Communists and the secret groups. They're part of that. But guess who's up there now? It's the conservative billionaires are now here in line, a great handful of them. There's a handful of them that are honest and true, that want to make things right. And you know who that is? One of them is Elon Musk. And this has to be done. We need to work on this right away. And the people. The masses are more powerful than a handful of billionaires. But we can make new laws now. We can make new laws now with this. It's relative what they did to Pfizer. Pfizer, they made the vaccinations. 40 people became billionaires because of vaccination.
Pulling the trigger?
No, they're puppets. The real puppet master is Satan.
Come on, that's ancient mythology. You're telling me demons are real?
Look at the pattern. Greed, destruction, control. That's his signature. Jesus called him the ruler of this world. He uses money, power, and deception to destroy what God made.
So these men are possessed.
Willing servants. They get wealth. He gets worship. But here's what they've...
And this is true. This is a spiritual war. It's a spiritual war. It goes beyond, and it shows, because the Islamic regime and the Democratic Communists and the secret groups are using they're saying a political ideology of their religion to take over and kill all those who are not Islam, okay? Not the Islam of Saudi Arabia and Royal Dubai, not them. It's the group that wants to kill the nation, the Satan. This is, and kill the nations of freedom, of EU and America. And even they were trying to get into Saudi Arabia and Dubai, but they cleaned up. This is all relative. We need to take small businesses and protect them and the livelihood of the people. We need to look at quality, not quantity. Otherwise, we're going to have a bleak country, a bleak place. And these billionaires that buy all these large businesses and destroy the small businesses, they won't have the masses to help them, because they'll become deteriorated. It shows in Stalin. Stalin tried to do what they're doing now, and it did not work. And also, even in Cuba, they took so much from Cuba, and they had communism, and this is very serious, and the people will revolt.
God.
That makes sense. What did they forget?
Revelation 11:18. The time has come to destroy those who destroy the earth. Jehovah sees every acre stolen, every animal killed, every family displaced, and Satan already defeated. Jesus Christ crushed his head.
So the cage won't last.
The land will be restored. The puppets will fall. The puppet master will burn. Now you see the names and the one pulling the strings. Share this. Someone needs to know who's really behind it and who wins.
This is terrible, and I feel so bad, because the teachers, is their pension being used properly? And all the farmers, they lost their farms. We need to make new laws and new reconciliation. And I want to show you this right here. Right here, I want to show you this right here, this statement. So bear with me. it says the American Farmers and Crimes. Jose Minaya, CO, representative of the Teachers Pension Investments, buying up farms. 160,000 farms are taken since 2017, taking 60 a day. Here's who's buying the American farms. The Teachers Pension Investment. Jose Minaya, their CO. They're buying up Brazil's Cerrado, 3 million acres. November the 2025 reported under the radar, documented it was a deforest of soy and wheat. This is terrible, and I want to show you. The question is we need to realize that. See, this is a massive crime for large companies to buy over small businesses, in that they are forced to give up because of the controls of the life of the human to produce their own achievements in life existence. This is very, very important to consider. But do you know, I want to show you something over here that he used to make only $650,000. He only made $660,000, okay? Are you listening? But now he made 19 million. There it is right there. Question: how I believe we can do this. Since the farms are already bought, we need to show how we could make a learning from this and do not allow this anymore and come back to the table. And I believe the farmers should get stock. They should get stock for selling the farms, because they existed and kept the farms up and made a beautiful business. But guess who got the stock? He got, Minaya, the CEO, got $19.2 million of stock awards. It's interesting. I wrote that after. Isn't that funny? It's not funny, but it's scary almost. I wrote that after asking stock for the farmers. Okay? And I think we should go back to the table, and they need to go back to the table and ask. And I don't know whether they made in the contract an arbiter where they can't take them to litigation in that contract. I don't know whether they did that or not. And so we need to get this done right away, and we need to help the people. So he made $19.2 million in stock he got. And he was only getting $650 base salary, but by 2026, that's what he got. And also a very terrible thing that right here, it's so sad. Listen to this. Now let's read this. Brazil's Cerrado is facing severe deforestation crisis driven largely by the expansion of agriculture business, which Minaya is responsible for. The report, he's one of the men that are responsible for. The report shows how the U.S. pension giant TIAA has played a major role in converting vast areas of land in western Bahia into soy and cotton plantations, worsening an already serious impacts on local communities and environments hidden behind a complex corporate structure. And that's the same thing why we have to be careful. A building is relative. Of AI companies that take all the water are not good for the people to get the EMFs and the power of the technology. That's all relative. So this is terrible. TIA appears to have taken advantage of the loopholes in Brazil's foreign ownership and laws, allowing to expand their further across the Cerrado and fueling land grabbing and ecocides. The Brazilian Cerrado is the world's, now listen, the Brazilian Cerrado is the world's most biodiverse savanna, and it's crucial for ecology, culture, and economic reasons. It is home to the indigenous Quilombola and peasant communities, and hold valuable knowledge of the biome and protect the biodiversity through long-standing cultural practices of communities, and also possess unique, inalienable rights under Brazilian law and international conventions. And it's interesting because I've had a chart in my suitcase, and I was going to talk about these ecosystems for almost since 2016, because I carry a big map of the world, and but I also had ecosystems. And here we are, because God knew what they were doing to Brazil, and we need to make changes. And we need to. The region contains 5% of the world's plants, and that's a lot considering all the world. 5% of the world's plants, and animal species, including more than 12,000 plant species, almost 40%, which exist nowhere else in the world. And I bet you those plants have medicinal purposes. Each one of those plants have medicinal purposes. They have to be researched. Now, are you with me? So let's review what we just spoke about. Number one, we talked about how there's a divine nature of the way creation is made. And that's just not my theological, logical outcome of, I'm not being subjective or objective. It's proven by fact of what I just read in regards to the deterioration of the ecosystems of Brazil that they're using and tearing them all down and putting agriculture because they want to monetize. Okay? This is terrible. And this is relative what they did with the vaccinations. They made a vaccine to kill and deteriorate people. 40 people became billionaires in Pfizer. Are you listening? This is relative. So we need to make new laws for the people. This is 2030. We need to make new laws. And because it's a geopolitics in the world now, okay, we need to come together in truth. Now since there is, since they already have the farming, question what happened to the original farmers. I believe there should be an integration of original farmers, if they desire, working together with CEOs to bring successful organic farming, but not deteriorating all the ecosystems and all the plants. What the hell? You better get back over there and get those plants in this is divine command to stop those agriculture and find where those plants are, where they dug them up. Did they throw them away? And they better get that done right away. And I'm sure the plants are still existing. They better take that agriculture out of there right away. There's other lands, other places where they could build agriculture, bare land. I heard in Syria, because I was asking for the Syrian people. Are you listening? I was asking for the Syrian people that they've been taken advantage. They came to Germany to have existence and life and love. They're good people. But Syria people need, the Syrian country needs to know how to make small and large businesses. They have fertile land in Syria all around the border. Why the hell? Why didn't they bring the farming there? And that's the same relativity. The immigrants need to be empowered and protected of their own countries, their own birthright. But this shows how when we make incorrect decisions, we go and deteriorate the creation of life. And this shows how in the spraying, are you listening? In the chemical spray they put in the air that we breathe in, the foods, in the vaccinations, in the children's education, in the technology controls. We need to make a beautiful skyscraper of love, of skyscraper reaching of love, not reaching for the man's ideas. This is like the Tower of Babel in the Old Testament, where the men are trying to reach to God, but they make their own ideas and they deteriorate what life itself is. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And the solution is now is to come back to the table and work. And I would ask to go back to the table to give stock to the farmers instead of Mignogna get the stock. I would go down to Mignogna and take him back to court if possible, because the farmers didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing. They were incompetent with business. In the contract, they didn't realize they were being taken advantage. they need to see if they could get the stock instead of him. The same thing that they did. They with the vaccinations, they took some states took Pfizer to court to get monies back because of what they did. And then we need to make new laws. And none of these farmings could have any toxins used to for fertilization or their processes. Then we need to stop the farming in the indigenous land of Brazil. Do you hear that? And this is a divine command. It has to be done. And billionaires need to step up right away. Someone needs to protect Brazil right away. There could be new laws by protecting indigenous people and ecosystems. Did you know that President Roosevelt, he protected many lands of America? Are you listening? Many lands of America. There's laws where he protected that land. Do you understand? Do you see? We could go back to the table and protect those lands and rebuttal. We have enough facts and we have enough cases. We have enough cases and we have enough protocol. Thank you so much. This is Lisa Luciard, and I appreciate your time. Have a beautiful day, and I know we're going to do this. Thank you.